Yo, what's up, guys? Today we have Jaylen Moore on the podcast. He's a VP Plus onboarding manager. You want advice to scale your clientele? This is your guy. So make sure you pay attention in this episode because it will be packed with value.
What's going on, Mojo? Glad to be here.
So, dude, you're a VA, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So tell me a little bit about a VA. What does VA stand for, and what do you do as a VA?
A VA stands for virtual assistant. And basically, as a virtual assistant, you basically can do anything really when it comes to helping support a client or anyone for that matter. So, for example, you know, on one day I might be creating a Notion content management system for someone, but then on the next day I'll be posting something to someone's social media and getting a good caption and a good thumbnail going, or maybe another day I'll be managing someone's YouTube account. So really, there's really no set thing for a virtual assistant. It's more so just whatever task is necessary for you. That's what you usually will do.
Okay, cool. So, but you going from VP Plus, you joined as a video editor, but then found more success being a VA, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. I initially joined VP Plus to be a video editor. That was the initial goal when I joined.
And what happened to that? Did you find like were you not finding success in finding clients? Were your skills not matching to where you wanted to be?
No, so what happened with me was I already knew deep down that I had more of a business focused mind
Yeah.
rather than a creative mind. I mean, I have some creativity, don't get me wrong, but as I was editing projects, I never actually closed any clients with video editing, but it wasn't because I couldn't close clients. It was more so because I kept thinking to myself, like, oh, I need to be the best editor. I need to be the best editor. And I realized that I just wasn't taking tons of action as a video editor. Like, I wasn't taking action. I wasn't moving forward as a video editor. I kept just being in this stuck mindset. And it wasn't until I got hired on as a virtual assistant that I started to realize that there was more money to be made, at least in my circumstance, moving forward as a virtual assistant rather than being a video editor. And I think the big reason for that was because for a moment, I had thought there was no money to be made as a virtual assistant in video production because I've always loved video production. We all watch videos, right? Like we
Mm.
all love watching videos. We all love seeing like cool effects or cool moments and so on and so forth inside of videos. But I just didn't have the extreme creativity to be able to be a video editor. But because I didn't think there was money to be made as a virtual assistant or on the business side, I didn't really think about that for a while. I just kept pushing along as a video editor, and then eventually I got hired by VP Plus as a virtual assistant, and I was able to really see through meeting with the team at VP. I've been able to learn how I can take my business skills and move it forward in a niche that I enjoy.
Talk to me about the transition that you made. So realizing that you're like, okay, I'm gonna move forward being a virtual assistant instead of a video editor. Were you like, should I leave VP Plus because there's no point of me being in here because I'm not gonna get any clients from editing? Or like, talk to me about who persuaded you to become a virtual assistant.
Well, so it's not, I didn't really get persuaded to be a virtual assistant. What happened was Ryan, back in November of 2023, he put out a post. He was looking for someone who could help to manage their in-house client social media accounts. So VP Plus has an in-house agency that's ran by Jack and a man named Tim Durr.
Yeah.
And they were closing clients for the in-house agency, but they were looking for someone who could help to manage those accounts, who could help to post content, who could help to caption the content, who could help to advertise their content and really bring life to it on their social media and engage with their followers and so on and so forth. And so when Ryan put out that post, I remember he put it out and he put in the chats, he was like, check out this post if you would be interested in being more of like a virtual assistant. And I remember looking at that, and for a minute, I was like more so on the fence at this point when it came to switching careers. Because again, I still didn't think there was money to be made. And I basically said, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. And I went and I filled in everything that Ryan was asking for, and he basically got back to me and he said, "Hey, we're gonna consider hiring you, but before we do that, I want you to fill out this personality test, and just so we can see like what your skills and so on and so forth, like what your personality has to say about this potential position." And I was like, "Fine, that's fine." And when I got done with it, every single result, it didn't surprise me what the results were, that I was more of like a planner, a growth seeker, someone who enjoys, just being more on the business side of, well, anything. I enjoyed that. And I knew deep down that's what the personality test was going to say. But after I got done with that personality test and I sent it over to Ryan, for him to review it. I basically took 2 days and I didn't do anything for 2 days. I basically was like, I'm at this crossroads where I really have to figure out where I'm gonna be moving going forward and what am I gonna do. And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to take 2 days and I'm just not going to do anything. I'm not going to go on my phone. I'm not going to look at the VP Plus Discord. I'm not going to watch any videos. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit for like 2 days and just really think about like what I need to do. And by the end of those 2 days, I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit to the virtual assistant. My gut's telling me to do it. Everything that I know is telling me to do it. So I'm just going to commit to it. And here's where we are today now.
Dope. So that was in November of 2023. You got that personality test from Ryan.
Yes,
So is that before or after you landed Nico Wada as a as partner? Like you guys partnered up.
that was before. So I got the job with VP Plus. I wasn't brought on as a team member yet. It was more so just a job at the time. Just a position. I wasn't a team member for VP yet by that point. But what happened was I took the job and I basically just started working on managing social media accounts. Loved it. I worked with 2 or 3 clients for VP Plus, just managing their social media accounts. And while I was doing that, I was also starting to learn more skills like building systems and creating content planners and things like that for video production, because I noticed one of the problems at that time was there were people in VP Plus who were just starting to like be like, oh, I'm scaling to 3K, 4K, 5K a month, but they were having a hard time managing their clients' content. Like they were sitting here like, I'm so unorganized. I can't seem to keep up with my clients because I'm just so unorganized. And I was like, you know what, maybe I could do something to fix this. And Nico was one of those people who was in that position where he was like, man, I'm starting my agency. I'm also working with these 2 clients. I feel super unorganized. And there was a live session where Jack brought up the idea of, hey, you want to hire someone like Jaylen who will be there to help sort of back you up and create the systems that you need. And when Nico was there, and he basically said, "Hey, that's something that I would be completely interested in." And then he got a hold of me, and we basically talked for a little while, and we moved forward as business partners, where he would be the face of his agency, of course, and then I would be there to sort of build the systems that he needed to be able to help grow his agency so that he would go from being unorganized to a well-oiled machine moving forward.
Right. And when I had Nico on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and he was talking about how you guys do SOPs, standard operating procedures. So
Mhm.
talk to me a little bit on how many people or how many times a day do you go and interview people to join to like get them on board to an agency, get them to scale like their business. Like talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in terms of are we talking like Nico's agency or are we talking about in general?
Let's talk about Nico's agency right now.
Okay, so when it comes to Nico's agency, a lot of the time what he will do is, since he's like a big name in his field, a lot of people know him as being like this top editor for Clicks and being this top editor who's worked with Jinxie. So what we'll do is I will have him basically send out a tweet, or we have a hiring tab in VP Plus, so he'll put out like a hiring post and so on and so forth, And then when people come to him, he will say, hey, he'll go to those people and he'll DM them and say, hey, if you're interested in joining the agency as an editor, thumbnail designer, or whatever, he'll then say, go and DM Jaylen on his Twitter, and he'll basically at me, and from there they'll follow me, they'll come and DM me or whatever, and I'll basically go to them and I'll say, okay, in order for you to join our agency, we do have a standard operating procedure. We have an onboarding process that we go through because in the past, the biggest problem Nico has had was hiring editors, hiring people. He's always had a problem with that because, either you get people who just super lazy, they don't do the work, or you get people that are missing deadlines. Like, sure, they might get the work done, but they're missing deadlines. And that's, of course, a problem for all clients. Like, they
Right.
never want to miss deadlines. So, what we do then is we put them through an onboarding process where the first phase is just like a questionnaire phase. The second phase is basically a phase that where they review a video and they see like, hey, uh, did this like what do you think about this video? Were there some points of this video that were bad, good? What were those points that were good? What could it be improved, and so on and so forth? And this kind of gives us understanding into the editor's mind as to like what could they have done to make the video better, or like, hey, these were the strong points of the video, like we should keep these points in this video, and that gives us an idea of how experienced they are. And then the final phase is more so them actually having to edit a video, so they get a folder of just raw clips, and they're free to choose whatever clips and create a video based off of those raw clips. And this gives us an idea to showcase like, okay, what can they do with raw footage, what can they do to get a project complete. And for both phase 2 and 3, they have a total of 24 hours to get it done. So this kind of showcases, can they get it done quickly and can they get it done efficiently while, while sticking to a deadline. And if they're not able to do that, then it's unfortunate, but there's no way we can
Yeah.
hire you, because while we might not need you to do 24-hour deliverables, we want to make sure that you can at least get a project done at a good time.
Right. Okay. Let's move on to this. I have a segment here, real quick. I'm gonna read some of your tweets, and you tell me just like the deeper meaning of them. Okay.
Sure.
Awesome. So one of your tweets: do your clients understand their business goals?
Yeah, so this was a tweet. Granted, I'm currently in the process of rebranding my social media because a lot of, granted, I'm gonna be sticking with probably video production since again that's I really enjoy the niche and so on and so forth. But the idea with that tweet was a lot of video editors will go to potential clients and they'll basically say something along the lines of, hey, I see that you don't have short form content, or I see that you don't have long form content. I know I can, create this for you and blah, 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 blah. And they go through this like tangent of like, oh, I know you don't have this type of content. Here's what I can do to help, blah, blah, blah. And in my eyes, that's the wrong way to go about it, because a lot of the time, a lot of people, it's super obvious when you think about it, but people just don't tend to think about it. And that's the fact that clients want results. They want value. They want something if they're going to hire you. It doesn't matter who you go to hire, it doesn't matter what niche you go into, every client is going to want value. They're going to want results. And the best way for you to provide that is to understand what their goals are. So if you understand that, hey, I'm working in the gaming niche, what are your clients more than likely going to want? They're going to want tons of views, right? They want more popularity. They want more people going to their channels, more people going to their streams, more people going to their social media and engaging, because the more popular they get, the more money they make in general. On the other hand, if I were to be like, what is your fitness coach client want? Like, chances are that if they're selling like a coaching program, they don't really care about views, right? Like, they don't care. They're sitting here saying, if I get 200 views on a video, but it converts like 20 people to buy my coaching program, I'm more than happy with that, right? So understanding where your clients sit and what their goals are is going to be the most important thing for you to move forward at in any business, but especially when it comes to video content, because then you can get better at targeting like, oh, I know in my niche, this is what my client wants. So the better I can get at doing this one objective, the more clients I'll be able to close and the more money I'll be able to make moving forward.
You're a beast. All right, let's go. Let's get to the next one. It says, okay, seriously, how many times are people going to outreach to potential clients with the basic, I'm a video editor, I would love to work with you. Just stop. You are the reason you can't get clientele, and I'll teach you some of the lessons about outreach. So give the viewers a little lesson about outreach. If I have this client that I want to get, how do I start? How do I start a conversation in like the DMs?
Mhm. Yeah, so a lot of the big issue is, again, this kind of claws back to the previous tweet we just talked about, where a lot of video editors, and it still happens, and it's mind-boggling to me that it still happens, where I'll see video editors say, "Hey," even in VP Plus, I still see it happen from time to time, and it boggles my mind when I see these video editors go, "Oh, I'm a professional when it comes to editing long form content. And so as a result, if I go to a client and I DM them and I say, hey, I'm a video editor, I edit long form content and I would love to work with you. It's just like, what what is going to make that client, what is going to make that human being want to continue that conversation? Because all it is you saying take, right? So a lot of the time, what clients want is they want results, but there is one other thing they really, really love, and that's value, right? It's the rule of reciprocity, where if you go to a potential client and you say, hey, instead of saying, I'm a video editor, I do this type of content, and I know I can help you, let's work together. Instead of doing that, try to be the one to provide that value to the client. Because if you go to the client, you say, hey, instead of saying, oh, I'm a video editor, you now go to the client, you say, hey, I saw your content and I thought there was something we could do to improve your views, or there's something we could do to improve the content, which would result to more sales for you and your business, right? You go to them and you say that, and then you follow up by potentially providing that value up front. Maybe it's a document that explains like, here's something that you could do to improve your content, or maybe it's an actual video, right? You go to them and you say, I created this video from one of your videos, and I think it's going to overall suit your goals better. Or you send like a Loom video where you're on camera saying, "Hey, this is what I think you should be doing, because honestly, if you did this with your video content, it would improve your sales overall." Just some way to provide value up front. It's going to accomplish two major goals for you. The first one is it's going to put that rule of reciprocity into effect, where the client sees that value, and if it truly is value to them, they'll go, hey, you know what? I like this guy's work. I want to maybe talk with this guy a little more. But the second thing that it does is it kind of gets you into the door, because it makes you more of a warm stranger. Hilarious to say that, but it makes you more of a warmer person to them, rather than just going to them and being like, I'm a video editor. And they just look at you like, okay, you're a video editor. So what? Whatever, right? It just makes people, it warms them up to you, and it shows that you actually care about them. And when you show that value, you care about them, then they're more than likely to be like, okay, yeah, I actually want to talk with this guy a little more and see what else he has, what else he could potentially bring value to me for.
Lastly, what is your advice for up and coming VAs or aspiring VAs?
I think for me, the big thing is you need to be willing to provide value. You need to be willing, and most of the time as a virtual assistant, it's a little more difficult. Like as a video editor, it's fairly easy to provide value, right? Because you can provide a video, you could provide a video to someone, you could straight up provide time, you could provide like I said, documents that showcase what someone could do. Like there's a lot of different ways you can upfront provide value to people. But as a VA, sure, you could maybe create a video where you talk about, hey, these are the systems I can make for you, or this is, how I can manage your social media and stuff like that. But for the most part, usually I would recommend that you more so focus on, can you give a little time in exchange for the experience? If you're a beginner VA and you kind of just don't have the experience, you kind of don't have Either you don't have the experience or you just don't have any clients that you can say like, hey, I've worked with these guys before. I would just recommend giving some time in exchange for the experience and then using that to catapult yourself further. So, as an example for myself, a lot of people in VP Plus even don't even know this, but when I started working with Nico and Cami C's, who's a six-figure agency owner, I worked for them for an entire month for free. Like I straight up gave them a whole month for free because at the time, while I knew I had skills, like I was like, yeah, I could definitely help you plan content and manage social media accounts. Like even though I knew I could do those things, there was still a part of me that was like, well, I don't have, all the experience in the world. I don't understand the fundamentals of what their agency or what their business does. So I was like, you know what? What I'll do is I'll work an entire month for free. And nowadays, I wouldn't do that. Like nowadays, if I'm getting more clients, I have more than enough experience to understand what the clients want that I could just be like, absolutely not. Like if a client, like there's no way I'll work for a month for free. But
Mhm.
at the start, I was more than willing to do that just to gain experience and to learn the fundamentals of what their businesses do. And now, since I'm getting more into video production as my niche, now I can start to be like, okay, well, now I know what your business is more than likely going to want moving forward.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jaylen. I appreciate you coming on here to expand my mind on what a VA does and what they do and how important they are to everybody, even video editors and agency owners. So I appreciate it. And tell everyone where to find you and where to follow you.
Yeah, so I'm currently working on a rebrand. My social media, even though I still engage with people on social media, I'm working on a rebrand. So, and I'm hoping to really bring value on the business side for video production. So, if you're wanting to learn things about how can I get better with outreach, how can I get better with improving my systems, how can I get better at hiring people, all of these different aspects that a lot of people don't think about when they're going into a more of a business model. That's kind of the stuff I'll be focusing on. um if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter. I'll also be building up an Instagram as well. So Twitter or Instagram is probably going to be the best to find me. You'll be able to find me at jm underscore media 23. That is my Twitter and Instagram tag. So you're more than happy to DM me, and I'll definitely respond. I respond to almost every DM I get in the first place. So
Sounds good. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like. Follow both of us on the screen. And that's been it. Peace out, everybody.